Hello artists, welcome to your mermaid painting class. My name is Miss M, and in front of you, you should have your mermaid canvas, your cup of water, large and a small brush, your paper towel, and we have a lot of colors. We have orange, teal, which is kind of like that darker blue-green mix, white, we have light blue, black, pink, brown, purple, and flesh tone. So you have a lot of colors. Be sure you have all these colors and all these materials in front of you. If not, you are welcome to push pause and come back whenever you are ready. All right, first things first, everyone can go ahead and put their two brushes in their cup of water, get it nice and clean, and then pat your brushes on your paper towel so you can get those nice and mostly dry. So wash and dry your brushes. We are going to start with the skin tone. So we're going to start with the face, the arms, and then kind of in the belly and chest area. So small brush, I'm going to have you go into that flesh tone. And I'm going to have you outline around her face first. So small brush, flesh tone. And then I'm going to go here, outline all this area. So you can kind of see it. So there's the face. And then I'm going to go kind of around her back and belly area. Also to the right of the arm. And you can go over the pencil line too, that's totally fine. The shoulders. So all the areas, you kind of see those pencil lines. And if you can see too much of the pencil lines, you can always go back and give it another coat. So you can go over it once it dries again. Above her bathing suit. I'm going to go in here, kind of like this triangular area. And underneath her chin. And here to the right and not on her bathing suit. All right. So there we go. We have a nice outline of her face, her arms, up here kind of in this triangular area above her bathing suit, to the right and kind of in the belly and back area. Once you are done, you're going to make sure your big brush is nice and clean and go back to more flesh tone. And then paint inside those areas. I'm going to go in here in the belly, so just a little bit with my big brush. And I'm not going to go over the outline. I still want them to kind of show. So I'm just going almost right up to them. Making sure I get into all those little spaces. And I'll go into kind of the face area. Not too much paint on my brush, just a little bit. And then fill up that space. Again, there's barely any paint on my brush, not too much paint at all. All that skin tone first, and we'll let it dry before we put any eyes or mouth or anything on top of it, because if we put anything on top of it next, it'll still be wet and the paint will blend or they'll mix. So we'll let this dry for a little bit before we put any paint on top. So there is our mermaid, her flesh tone, her skin tone. It's okay if you see some of the pencil still, but if you want to go back, you can add a little bit of more flesh tone on top, or if you wanted to add a little bit of white on top to kind of white out some of those areas as well, but just kind of a part of this painting. All right, once I'm done, I'm gonna wash and dry my big brush, and I'm gonna paint all that water in the background blue. I'm gonna watch all that. I'm gonna add a little bit of Ocean Breeze, which is this lighter blue, and a little bit of white to my brush at the same time. Ooh, sorry. My white got kind of stuck. So white and blue. And I'm just gonna paint all this area in the back, this really pretty light blue color. And if you want, when you get closer to your mermaid, you can go back for more white and more blue. Your big brush, you can go to the left of her so you don't get any paint on her. Then outline. And you can kind of get a little bit closer. So I just kind of made a curve around her, and even around her hair, and even around the left side. So I know where to stop with my blue. And I'm just going to be painting all this space to the left. So I made an outline to the left side, and then I just got a little bit closer. Like so. Alright, and same with this bottom area. If you want to add some blue and white, it's that lighter blue, not the teal, on your brush. You go around here, underneath the belly, over here, and you can start painting all this space underneath her. This nice light blue. Make sure there's no bumps. Make sure you're getting rid of all the bumps. In a moment, I will also be painting the 4 sides, this lighter blue as well. Same to the right of her body. If you want to make an outline around her tail, like so. If you want to go back, a little bit of blue, a little bit of white, and then paint this side. Nice like blue. It's really pretty. I love this blue. Like so. Perfect. All right, a little bit of blue, a little bit of white. I'm going to go to the right side of her hair. Maybe above her back. Almost makes an L. And then I'm going to go to the right side right here. So make a little curve so I know where to stop. And then I can paint this space in between with blue and white. Again, nice long lines. You want to make sure your mermaid looks nice and clean. All this is nice and light blue. So far, so good. And then the top part, we can even outline a bit above her hair. So I'm going to finish off right here. And then above her tail, we can make this kind of V shape again. And then we can paint all the space above it. So I'm painting all that water in the background blue. Like so. If you wanted to go back and give it a second coat, if you want it to be a little bit more solid where you can't see the white as much in the background, you can let it dry and go back and give it a second coat. But do not forget about painting your 4 sides. That's a must. You want to paint the bottom part with a little bit of blue and white on your big brush. And paint all that bottom area. So if you do decide to hang this on the wall, it's going to look a little bit neater with some clean sides. The left side as well. well. The top as well. This is all that light blue, not the dark teal, but that light blue. And the right. So cute. So we have that nice light blue background. Perfect. And then once we're done, double check the sides. If you want to go back, give it another coat, you can. Make sure it looks nice and clean. And then you get to wash and dry your big brush. And if you are not done with your background yet, you're welcome to put a pause on the video and then come back to it whenever you're ready. Next step is going to be our teal paint, which is this one up here, this really pretty blue and green mix. And our big brush, I'm going to go here to the right of this line. I'm going to outline it with my big brush. And I'm going to come up. And I'm pretty much going to go over the pencil lines. So right here, nice long smooth lines. And if your light blue is still really wet, maybe give it another minute or two to dry. Such a pretty color. I love teal. And the teal and the light blue look so good together. Okay. You can go ahead and paint all that space inside of it teal. And if you want to give it 2 coats, you can, which means you paint it once, let it dry, and then go back over it a second time. Smooth it out. Be sure you don't have any bumps on the tail. Be sure you don't have any white peeking through. And again, I would probably give it 2 coats. So paint it once, give it a minute or 2 to dry, and then go back with a second coat to really clean it up nicely. All right. Once you're done with that, you can go ahead and work with the purple little bathing suit top. It's a light purple, so you're going to mix your purple and your white. So I'm going to wash and dry my big brush, put it off to the side. I'm going to use my small brush for this one. So I'm going to get a little bit of purple, a little bit of white on my brush at the same time. Then I'm going to go in there and just kind of outline. Kind of looks like a fallen number 8, huh? I'll go in there and paint it with some purple and white, small brush, outline, and then you can fill in that space. So cute. Then you can wash and dry your brush. The next step is going to be your pink hair. It is a little bit of pink and white at the same time on your brush. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my big brush. I'm really going to wash and dry it. I'm going to add some pink to my brush and some white. Find some nice clean area of white. And I'm going to go in there and outline the shape of my hair, and then I'll go in there and fill it in. So I'm going to go in there and outline. So I'm going to go on the outside. If you want to jump to your small brush, you can. I'm going to use my big brush and my pink and white, and I'm going to outline nice long brush strokes and go with the curve of the hair. Be sure that blue around it is nice and dry. And then you can paint all that space in an up and down motion. So there's some pink and some white. Paint all that space. I'm going to kind of go over my outline on this one. I don't want to really see my outline like I can on my flesh tone. I want to cover up my outline. Get a little bit more clean. So cute. All right, and I'll wash and dry my big brush. Now that my flesh tone is a little bit more dry, I can go in there and make the lines for the face, the eyes and the nose and the mouth. I am going to use my small brush. I'm going to dip it into my cup of water. I'm going to twist it and bring it to a point. I'm going to start with the eyes, which are going to be about right here and right here with a little bit of a curve. I'm barely going to push on my small brush. So I'm going to start with this one, a little bit more than halfway up on the face. Barely pushing on my brush. And be sure to squeeze out most of that water. You don't want too much water on there. There you go, with a little bit of a dip. Not a U shape, but a little bit of a dip. If you want lashes, you can work on the outside and almost like sun rays. You can make 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3 for her lashes. And then the nose is a little bit more of a U shape, so it has a little bit more of a curve on it. Be sure, let me get my brush wet again and I'll twist it and bring it to a U shape. Excuse me, to a pointy shape. So again, remember, you just want to be on the tippy toes of your brush. Don't push too hard at all. And go between. Too much water. So cute. Adorable. And then for and I'm going to go in there and make the mouth, some water, bring it to a twist, a little bit of black paint, and the mouth is going to be pretty mini. Like so. She's a happy mermaid. So cute. Perfect. Now wash and dry my small brush. Be sure to really get the black off of there because we are going to go to white next. And a little bit of pink again. So white and pink. And we're going to add these lines of lighter pink on top now that it's a little bit more dry. So I'm using my small brush after I really cleaned off that black. Pink, white, maybe you can wipe some off. And I'm just going to make some of these little curvy lines, maybe some working to the left up here, some working to the right. But now that the hair is a little bit more dry, I can also work on top of that. A little bit of a curve. Small brush, pink, white, pat some off, and add some nice little curvy lines. So to the left, to the right. Let's add some highlights in our hair. Perfect. Fun. All right, next thing, we're going to keep up with that pink and white, and we're going to start decorating the tail now that it's also a little bit more dry. So I am going to give her like a little bit of a belt. So again, small brush, pink and white. You come down just a little bit off of the teal to the right. So you can still see some of this teal of pink and white on my brush at the same time. A little bit more pink and white. And then up here, almost like the same lines in the hair, I'm going to kind of go on the outside of the tail a little bit. Make those lines there. You can add some smaller ones. A little bit of a curve here and there. This is pink and white on your brush at the same time. More small brush, more pink, more white. And the scales are like M shapes, so they're just kind of random, some bigger down here, some smaller up there. You can add as many as you want, but be sure to kind of get bigger ones up here and smaller ones down there. Alright, and then I'm going to wash and dry my brush. These little smudges, sorry about that. Perfect. Alright. Next up, I am going to give our mermaid a little bit of a star necklace. So I'm going to use my nice clean small brush, so be sure it's nicely washed and dried. Maybe even bring it to a point. I'm going to add a little bit of orange to my brush, a little bit of orange, and watch this. I'm going to make an X, a really small X. You see that? Really small X. And then I'm going to make a line going up top here, so it looks like a little starfish. Perfect. So I made the X. It's between her two arms, and then I made that line just going up. It is a necklace, so I'm going to use the back of my brush and a nice clean area of white. I'm going to make just like a dot or two on the left, a dot or two on the right, showing that it's kind of hanging off of a necklace. You can barely see those, but they're there. And I just used the back of my small brush and made two dots to the right, a dot on the left. Perfect. All right, and then one last thing, we are gonna put her shell in her hair, so her shell. I'm gonna wipe off my brush, like so. And then I'm gonna make a shell shape with a little bit of brown on there and a little bit of orange. So it has a little bit of brown and orange on there. Maybe tap some off. With my shell, it's pretty easy. You're gonna make one line. Let me make it a little bit darker so you can see it better. So it's brown and orange on your small brush. There's one line. I'm going to make a second one that meets up with it. There's two. They're pretty mini. And then to the left of it, there's three. And they all just kind of meet up at the bottom. Can you see that? It's a little shell. Kind of meet up at the bottom. Cute. And if you want, you can add some white lines in there. So I just kind of wiped off my small brush. White paint. And between each section, I'm just going to add a little bit of white. Then I just kind of give it some highlights. And I just added some little bit of white and just kind of worked its way in. Made some lines between each of the three sections, and then a little bit on the top, a little bit on the bottom. Just kind of work that in there too. All right, artists, there is your lovely mermaid. Hopefully you had a great time. Thank you so much for joining us in this mermaid painting class, and hopefully we will see you soon.